Okay, observations can be very telling and tell us a lot about what we're actually seeing. And what I always say is that this mirror line that's above this visible water line can either be a small mirror or a big mirror. In other words, it could be a longer mirror or a shorter mirror, depending on how bad the mirroring is going on. Um, and again, this falls under how much humidity is in the air. Um, I mean, where I say that the horizon is, that does change due to this factor. And this is one of the things that I notice about some of my videos, being that mirror is bigger or smaller. But when we have a lot of humidity in the air, that uh, mirror gets bigger. What it does, though, also is because of the humidity, we get more magnifying, and it actually draws the horizon in closer to us, which is also an illusion. It actually, our eyes are being deceived by this magnified image, which is pulling it in, and it actually does lower the horizon down, which I think the horizon is higher than what we are actually seeing. Where this mirror line shows, I think it can actually be much further out there. But the mirroring is something that really need to look at a lot, because you see where the mirroring elongates things, and you also see where the mirroring compresses things. And when it's compressed, it still is cutting off our because all right, the horizon line is always a compressed line because you're looking long distances to it. Okay, so imagine that compressed line on, say, a really good day of visibility, and then you imagine that compressed line um, being drawn into you, like almost right here. We're going to draw that into you closer, but a magnifying glass is just magnifying it closer to you. Um, Really kind of just like the camera's doing for us. It's magnifying and pulling everything forward. But if you had better visibility, my horizon line would be not only in a different spot, but it would actually be farther out there. But no matter what, the horizon gets pinched off because of the vanishing point, the convergence. Okay, so that's one of the things that I look at is that convergence, and then the vanishing point. It's like I say, it's like running two string lines, one above the other. You get down to the lower string line, you are going to see more of the upper string than you are going to be seeing of the bottom string. It's like that little sliver of board. When you lay the board down and you get level with it, the board becomes a sliver, and then everything above it, you're seeing more of that area. So if we had a string running down, you're going to see more of that top string than you will the bottom. And it's just an appearance of that, because if you go up halfway between the two strings, now you're going to see an equal portion of those two strings, but it's still going to converge to the vanishing point at the end. And again, like I say, no matter what we do, we're not going to be able to see past the convergence or past the vanishing point, no matter what, because no matter how good of a zoom we have, there's going to be a vanishing point, or there's going to be a haze buildup that's going to block us off too. Because if it was foggy out here, out in the Gulf, how far would I get? Right to the fog, and then boom, it'd be like a roadblock. I'm not going to be able to see any further. Come on, this is kind of common sense stuff. And you can obviously see the mirroring going on in this video. And again, pay attention to the reflections when I zoom back, and how the reflections that are right in front of me are getting elongated. compared to the ones a little further out. They start to match. And also, you got to realize too that it's an inversion, a reverse picture of the sky. Everything's in reverse. So, when we look at the stars, are they in reverse compared to somebody looking at the stars from the southern, or from the outside edge, I should say. I should say from the outside edge. Or is it just like a mirror? Everything's just mirroring. So we get, a little different view from different areas around the earth, but it's around the earth, not around the ball, around the flat surface. Because again, we've all been taught that, water is level, but we were also taught in school that we live on a globe, and how much surface area or how much water is on Earth. It's mostly water. So how can this water be stuck to a globe and stay level? Stay sea level. Why would they even name it sea level if it's not level? And you wouldn't be seeing this if Earth was level. You'd be seeing curved water out there, where not only would you have a drop 3 miles from a certain point, but there would be another drop to the left and right of me too. That should be pretty obvious, if Earth was curved. You can't detect any curvature out there. Sometimes you can detect an illusion of a curvature, but that would be just that, an illusion. It's not really real. It's the illusion that we're seeing, and it's also something that's been distilled in us that it's true. Again, here when I was a kid, I watched pirate movies and watched the sailboat sail over the sea, or out the sea, and you see it shrink from bottom up, or disappear bottom up. But then I watched the documentary on some of the Hollywood movies being made, and they showed you how they did the trick. They slowly dropped their camera down as the boat sailed away, so it would appear that the boat, went over the curvature of Earth. Because if they waited a long time, I mean, they would have to wait an awful long time to watch this boat sail over the curvature of Earth. Especially if they was to zoomed in on it. Today with these 83 times zoom cameras, man, I zoom out there and hello, the boat that was supposed to have gone over the curvature of Earth is still sitting there flat in the water. And then when we get good videos and good visibility, and just look at these reflections. But when we get great visibility, some troll will come on your channel and say that it's refraction. Now, I see the boat, I see the water, I see everything like perfectly sitting out there like it should be, like I should see it, flat and level, and then they want to tell me that somehow or another this is getting bent upwards. And when you compare some of your observations to other ones, you can tell that things literally do get cut off the worse visibility you have. So, when you take into consideration parallel lines, the convergence, and how our eyes work, angular resolution, when you start taking into all of that into consideration, you start really questioning what you were told to believe. And again, here you can obviously see all of this mirroring effect going on, and that is the convergence of the sky meeting the water, or the apparent water, because again, I believe, and I really do, because Florida, the humidity is causing a magnification, and it's drawing that horizon line closer to me, which, because of refraction, downward refraction, it's literally pulling the whole screen downwards, the whole viewing range downward. Now, all my everything that I'm saying is basically my opinion, and I have a right to have an opinion. I have a right to be an independent thinker, free thinking, and decide things for myself, who to believe, who not to believe. And you know, this is something too that a lot of these trolls will say is, oh, you know, you fell into a belief system that's controlled by people that just want to make money off of YouTube. Well, I have no uh, leaders as far as any flat earth people that I follow like a dog with my tongue hanging out. I'm my own leader. I'm out here doing my own thing. I mean, I have my niche. Yes, I subscribe to some of the big channels like Jeranism and Taboo Conspiracy. And well, I have a whole bunch of people that I subscribe to, but I can't keep up with them all. But the channels that I like personally myself is a lot of the smaller observational channels that are out doing observations just like me, because my observations are what really like sealed the deal in my mind about the shape of the earth. Because if we go by what science tells us, either um, they're lying about a whole lot of crap, or they just don't know themselves how big the Earth actually is. Because without being able to detect any curvature, um, wow, hello. Because I know from this right side, this point, all the way over to another point, it's just 1 mile. But now you got to take into consideration where the horizon line is. Now, if that's 3 miles, I'm looking out, or 3.5 miles, I'm looking out 3.5 miles on an angle outward, left and right, and I am looking a long, long distance. Especially like, you know, seeing um, these other bird racks, which are out 8 miles, 11.05 miles, 3 miles, 3 miles, or 3.5 miles on the other two. Um, something's wrong with this, because I should have a big bow out there. I should see a bow in the water, but I don't. I don't find any. There isn't any. And like I say, if you do find something that is similar to what looks like that, it's usually right where the sunlight's coming down, hitting the water, and causing a reflection upward of water that's actually further back there that we cannot see with our naked eyes. How's that? Um, that's the best way I can explain it, because when I zoom in on these areas, I can obviously see that things are a little further back, right there where that light's hitting the water, where it's being reflected up. Because what is it reflecting off of? Water. And that's my point. Um, Now, again, I don't ask anybody to believe me or even trust what I'm doing. That's why I try to inspire others to go out there and do the kind of observations that I'm doing. Uh, you know, stay close to the water. Um, Also, find out what your distances are to certain objects, or you know, if you have land markers out there, find those distances. And then, you know, if you do as much filming in that same area, so you get used to seeing, and you can document it on your videos, how that horizon line changes, how things get magnified, where they're also stretched and compressed. I mean, I've got plenty of stuff that shows how you know, like Bill Watts gets stretched out. Same way with Billy Steele's, they get stretched out. And then you can go and look at some where they're mashed down and compressed. Like I've got quite a few of them with I think Bayport Bird Rack, where it's actually mashed down. It's being compressed, not stretched, which is strange. Cutter's Rock always seems to be not only compressed, but stretched out from left to right. So it's being compressed downward and stretched side to side. And that I even see with some of the boats, because I know some of these boats aren't the length that they appear to be. So it's this distortion that causes a lot of illusions. And you know, I've tried very hard to pull something up over a little hump in the road. And what happens there is you get this mirroring effect at the top of the surface of the road, and it literally causes a block. I mean, anybody can go out and do it. You'll walk up to the top of the hill, and you can see something above the hill, like tree lines, and you look at right there, just above that hill, and there's like this little gap that's missing, and that's the mirror block. That's the mirage block. Stops you from seeing what's actually uh, behind it. And whatever's back there, it actually gets drawn down behind that mirror. It's a mirror block, and it's like I said, it's very easily to go out there and do your own observations and use your own brains and say to yourself, what in the world is happening here? What's going on? Because this isn't what we were taught or told, and you know, uh, again, question, question, question everything. You can question me. You can question whatever I show you my observations. That's fine. But if you do question me, at least you could do is go out and do your own observations and question yourself. Because that's what I did when I got into this. And it took a lot of research and a lot of observations for me to really start seeing what's going on out there on that horizon. All right. I appreciate everybody taking the time to watch my long videos. I do have some time-lapse videos that I'll put in part 3 for this, where I stayed out there till midnight. So those will be a quick one. Part 3 will be pretty fast. All right, thanks. Like, subscribe, share, and use.